Welcome to chapter 3. Here I'm going to show you how we're going to put the back together. Now again, we've got the two options of working either with an interlining, which I placed on the shell fabric, but you could actually place it under the lining as well. That would be fine too. So that doesn't make too much of a difference. And then we've got the other option of putting the interfacing, the iron-on stuff, onto the back once that's together, and using the plain linen here for the shell. So when you're working like this and you're working with linen, when you have interfacing on, it won't stretch, it's fine. When you've got interlining on, it's also fine. If I had it here at the top, it would not be fine because it would easily stretch. Now this is cotton and it won't. But here I've got a back with nothing on, and as you can see, by the end of this little chapter, you will have put some reinforcement on here to make sure that this doesn't stretch in the shoulder area when we're putting our little jacket together. Now I'm going to have a look with you how we're going to put the whole thing together and how we mark it out and get it ready for the collar. So I'm going to put together my lining here, and I'm going to use lining here. And then my centerpiece goes in there. So I just need to sew this together and Bob's your uncle that. Okay, so we're flipping it back. So it looks like that. Turn it over, and now we can pin it from one side to the other. Now I need to attach the top, fold that one over, and I'm going to pin that one as well. And here we're going to sew the back together now. Line up with 1 centimeter. Make sure you hold it with a little bit of tension. Your left hand holds it here so that it's fed in even. Your back sewn together. We're going to also iron our seam flat. Every time it always repeats itself, and then we open it out. That will give you a beautiful finish, very flat. Excellent. And it doesn't really matter how you put the back together or what fabrics you use, the system is always the same. All 3 parts need to be joined. And then comes the big moment. Turn it over and you go, oh, this is so nice. Look at that. I mean, I don't know, am I allowed to just really love what I do myself? It's so cute. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Now I could put my little label in here because I'm going to sew that on. So if you've got yours, do it. A lot of people will make these to sell because they're really gorgeous and they're not so hard to make. So if you go down 1 centimeter from here, so it's optically correct, then choose the mill, right? And the mill for that. So I'm just going to pin this on. Hop over to my sewing machine and put my label on. Now you have the option, we've just discussed this on the introduction to this jacket, to put the iron-on interfacing all the way over that and iron it on, or you could also use alternatively the interlining, which then gets just pinned on or is pinned on to the other back piece, the outer back piece. So that's up to you. So many ways to do things. It's neither wrong or right. This is just one way of doing it. So let's iron this on. Could have ironed it on obviously before I put my label on. That might have made sense, but it's kind of an afterthought, the label. It's a quick snap decision. So I'm going to do a lot of counting till 8 now to have this fixed on and just keep moving away. So I won't bore you with that, and I'll see you back when I've ironed it on. My interfacing is on. Like I said, I could have used interlining as well. This is up to you. You just got to make that decision and maybe do both one day and then see which one you like better. We are working either with the outer back with the interlining, or you will have an outer back which has nothing to it, which works with your interfaced lining. So here we've got the interfaced lining and we've got nothing on the back to support it at all at this point. This will lend support, but also this part here, we don't want this to look in any way not so nice. So the old trick is here also the best, and we can put a little bit of interfacing here and here on the shoulder and around the collar. And then I fetch my back piece, and I've got it here marked for the center back, and I'm going to put this on to make sure that nothing has moved, and actually it hasn't, I don't think. Up a little bit up there, so I've just shimmied it over a little bit, and I can now put a strip of interfacing over the edge here, cut it back a bit, and here like that, and now I can iron on my interfacing here as well. Cut this off there, and then I'll move over and do the other side as well, and this will give it more strength. I've done it. Now I'm going to go on to the next step and just bang one on there as well, lightly iron it on, and then clip. And I'm gonna give it a good heat bit, and then I can turn it over and I can cut back what's in the way. There we go. Cut my violin off here, that's standing over the edge. The next step to prep up your interfacing, I have to tell you, I think for all of this coming to make a collar, because all of this will have to sit just on a centimeter seam allowance. Mark them. Mark them, mark them, mark them. Don't say, oh, that's okay, I know how to sew. Trust me, if an expert is doing it, you might want to do it. I've had plenty of these where it's not gone so right because I was just rushing and I thought, oh, I'll go real quick and I know how to do this, and then I got a bit stuck. Of course, when I get stuck, I usually can put it right, but if you are going to be really frustrated because it didn't work, oh, I'd be so sad for you. Gutted, in fact. So if you do all these little steps, guarantee you won't get stuck. It'll just take you a little bit longer and you'll have something beautiful. Plus, of course, all these steps, once you've done them once, they go quicker and quicker because you'll know what to do. And if you're selling this, you want it to look fantastic for your customers. So you want to make sure you mark that. You can also mark it. The other piece that we've got here, make sure that none of the white stuff is standing over and giving you a wrong idea of where your seam allowance actually is, because I'm going to mark it on here. Always mark on the wrong side or underside of the fabric, so we're marking this as well. It's exactly the same. Sometimes when you are cutting out, it could easily be that these don't sit on each other perfectly because you are cutting out really fast. Make sure that you take it from the part that's correct. Don't go from here, go from your actual outer piece. So I've marked my 1 centimeter all the way around. And that was chapter 3. We're finished now. We've put the back together. We are ready for the collar with the back. Now we need to prep up our front as well. So you can now move on to chapter 4, how to get the front ready for the collar.